Welcome. I'm so excited that you're ready to build your hybrid course. Completed alignment, course map, and lesson plan, you are certainly ready to develop a course and move to modules. So you might want to explore how your course would look like a typical lesson using the module tool in Canvas. I'll cover 3 different hybrid structures along with the quality matters structure, and then also apply a theoretical structure, the engage method. So here, number 1, we're going to start with the online blend. And of course, in this blend, you lecture and present your course materials only online. And you're using that valuable in-class time to engage students in active discussions, being problem-based learning, or any active learning technique. So if you're going to organize your module, you'll certainly have a title. You'll have some kind of startup that engages students in the topic, move to those online learning activities, and then transition and integrate with in-class activities and assessments. And of course, you definitely want to wrap that module completely up. In contrast, you could use the face-to-face blend. And in class, you would lecture and facilitate those learning activities and discussions. In contrast, your students would go online to complete assignments based on classroom activities. How would you organize that module? Of course, you always would feature a descriptive title, provide students with startup information that they would need to complete that module, uh, provide them with a list of those in-class learning activities so they can be prepared, and then schedule out-of-class learning activities they may need to complete, such as visiting the library or doing a web search, and then move to those online assessments where you measure what they have learned. And of course, we certainly want to wrap up our module to make sure they have gained all the skills and knowledge we want them to learn in that specific module. You can also apply the FlexBlend, and in this blend, the first half of your unit is delivered in a traditional face-to-face model in class. In the second half of the unit, students go completely and work exclusively online. To help facilitate the learning process here, you've got to schedule ongoing student consultations and check in to make sure they're going through their learning process. So, as with all modules, we certainly need a title. We need an introduction with some lesson preparation. A schedule would be wonderful in this kind of model. You would move to the schedule of class meetings, also the schedule of instructor consultations, and then reveal what the online assessments were and perhaps provide a reflection to close out that specific module. One common structure we see applied to hybrid and online classes is, of course, the quality matters lesson structure. So to hybrid or online, your class can meet quality matters standards. To achieve those standards, you would start off with a module title, list specifically the overview, objectives, and outcomes that you are using to organize that specific lesson, move through required readings, learning activities, and assessments, and then, of course, list those assessments, which could be a discussion or an assignment. Finally, if you do follow a specific learning theory or philosophy, of course, you can apply that to the module structure of a hybrid or online course. Here I'm applying the engage blend. And so students are moving between in-class and online activities to complete a learning-centered process. And so I'm organizing my module, of course, using a title that's descriptive. And students go through a series of activities that correspond to stages in that method. So first I energize their learning, then they're exploring content, and that could be in class or out. Then they create meaning, in class or out. Then they apply it, in class or out, reflect and review, and then they extend learning. So if you do adhere to a specific philosophy or theory, certainly can apply it to structuring out an online course.